Opportunity featuring Kagiso Rabada. As per the norm, we will look to take one question at a time. Please do indicate in the chat panel by raising your hand if you would like to ask a question. I see Johan has his hand up first, so we'll start with you, Johan.
Hi, KG. Which is best? West Indies played 3 tests. They must be well oiled, although it can be also very hectic, that series. But which will be better off? You guys only have the one warm up, and they're coming fresh with a three match test.
Yeah, they've been playing some cricket, but there's nothing we can do about that. We just know the challenge that lies ahead of us. We're just going to have to make the most of what we've got. We know that we can beat them. We do believe that we can beat them. It's going to be a tough series. I'd say it is, a bit of a concern that we haven't played together. But I think the exciting part is that it's going to be a good test to see what we can produce after having not played so much recently. But we've got this 4-day game coming up, and we believe that we can adapt and that we can be ready in time.
Thanks, Johan. Nathan, then Amir.
Thank you, Lucy. Good day, KG. KG, it's been a minute. KG, but what were your takeouts from that West Indies versus England test series?
I actually didn't watch much of it, to be honest. So I can't really give you an in-depth answer.
Okay, so basically, what would we be expecting from the West Indies then, if I may ask that? What would we be expecting from them?
So playing in Port of Spain, obviously it's drier conditions in the Caribbean. So expecting the ball to turn, maybe expecting them to play their spinners. Certainly know of their players and what they bring to the table. They've got good quicks, and even though it spins here, there's usually a bit of bounce as well, a little bit of pace and bounce as well. You tend to find that in the Caribbean regarding their rich history of pace bowlers, and their batting lineup too. There's a few new names in there that I haven't played against and that we haven't played against, but there are some regular names that we have played against. So it's just about adapting to a few of their new players, and perhaps as batters, expecting them to come at us with spin, and as the bowlers trying to find ways to bowl perhaps in these conditions that it can be a bit deceiving at times. The wicket does look a bit dry with some grass coverage on it. The nets are indicating that there is a bit of bounce, but their wickets are a bit slowish, but there's still something there for the seamers. And the ball's turning. So it's going to be an interesting test wicket.
Thanks, Nathan. Amir, then Keenan.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Good afternoon, KG. The last time South Africa was in the West Indies was in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. You were also part of that team. And, you picked up 11 wickets across the 2 matches, which South Africa won quite emphatically, if I remember correctly. Just talk to us about how much you've changed as a red ball cricketer over this period, given that we haven't played much cricket, red ball cricket at least.
I don't know how much I've changed. Maybe I'll find out after this tour.
Or grown, maybe.
Grown. Perhaps the more you play cricket, the more you understand yourself. So what has it been? 3 years. So perhaps the growth happens mentally. We have been playing quite a lot of white ball cricket, and I guess in the last 3 years I have grown mentally, I think, and just as a person I've grown. my personal skill in cricket, I do aspire to grow more and more each day. But I think it's just the way that you view things, perception, you know, strategy. But mostly it's about controlling your emotions and playing playing well under any sort of emotion and occasion. I think that's how I've grown the most. Would probably be mentally, going through trials and tribulations and learning to bounce back, being practical about how I go about my game, and finding those nuanced ways and learning those types of lessons. In terms of actual skill, I'm not sure that I progressed more other than mentally, which does help the skill side.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Keenan, then Telford.
Thanks so much, Lucy. Hi, KG. Hope you're well. I don't know if you're aware, you're 9 wickets away from 300 test wickets. Are you aware of that, firstly? And secondly, is that something you're keen to tick off on this tour in the West Indies?
I am aware of that. Thanks. Yeah, I think there will be such a special landmark, but I'm not focused on that. I think that'll just be a byproduct. I'm just focused on making sure that I'm there for the team. Well, first of all, I'm making sure that I find a way to put in a performance, and putting a performance ultimately means the team moving in the right direction, means that I'm doing my part, and just being a good teammate. I think those are the two aspects which I am focusing on more than thinking about how I'm going to get 9 wickets. It'll happen in its own due time. It'll happen in due time. So I don't think there's any great precedence in thinking about that too much. I think if not, it just takes your focus away on actually getting the job done. But whenever it does happen, and if it happens these next 2 tests or in this next test, I mean, that would be phenomenal.
Great, thanks, Keenan. Telford.
Thanks, Lucy. How's it, Kagiso? South Africa don't play Test cricket, particularly in the West Indies, that often. And I just wonder, you as a bit of a student of the game, and particularly as a fast bowler, does that make you a bit sad? Would you like to play Test cricket in the Caribbean more often?
Yeah, I think the Caribbean for me is my favorite place to tour. I love coming here. There's a lot of history, cricketing history here. Everything's so different. I love touring the world and touring other countries and playing cricket. Every city has its own different flavor. Every country has its own different flavor. But I just find myself being rather drawn to West Indies cricket for some reason. Look, I don't know how the scheduling works. I don't know quite really how to answer this question, but yeah, I guess hopefully we can play more cricket here, Test cricket here. Does it make me upset that we're not? I don't think it makes me hella upset that we're not playing more Test cricket here. But we've been playing cricket, yeah. We've just come off a World Cup. There's a T20 series after this, so perhaps we'll play more Test cricket in the future, hopefully. But I guess next time they're coming to us, so we can scrap it for next series we play that.
Thanks, Telford. For those.
Hi, KG. You just spoke so passionately about how much you enjoy the Caribbean, and you would know that they are one of the teams, I guess, where the form in Test cricket has been a discussion point. And in the last few weeks, what we've seen a lot of is this talk that maybe only 6 teams will be left playing Test cricket as scheduling changes and whatever. And you've been around a long time, and I'm sure you'd be sad to hear that. But does that sound realistic to you? And does it seem like a situation that needs a bit of an intervention, so to speak?
So you're catching me up on all these on this world cricket news. I think I need to pay more attention to that for those. I guess can you repeat that last part again?
Yeah, I guess just first you must read more cricket info, then you'll know the news. But if you, I mean, just does it sound like it's possible that only 6 teams could be left as test nations? And if you can think of, what could happen either to prevent that, if you think it needs preventing, or, should there be an intervention, or should we just let cricket run its course and maybe there are only 6 teams left?
Well, obviously, cricket is about giving entertainment. Sport is about giving entertainment to the fans. And with cricket being the second most popular sport in the world after football, based on the numbers in the subcontinent, I mean, it's very certain that cricket is providing entertainment for the fans. And, for the fans to get good entertainment, the cricket has to be good. If you have a look at the form that the West Indies have been through, it hasn't been, their greatest era. And I'm sure they'll be willing to rectify that, and they'll be determined to rectify that, because I think it does mean a lot in West Indies cricket. And in all the boards, the well-established cricket boards, Test cricket does mean a lot. So I just feel as if when good cricket is played, then the best teams want to play against those teams, So I think it's up to the West Indies, just like it would be up to us, for us to play good Test cricket. And if you play good Test cricket, then you start to get a good following. Like, you see the West Indies T20 squad has good following because they generally play an exciting brand, and they play good cricket. So we've seen it in Australia when West Indies went and beat Australia, and that brought a spark back to West Indies Test cricket, and more of that just needs to happen. It would be sad that there would only be 6 teams. It would be sad to not see West Indies cricket in and amongst, the top teams as they used to be, because they used to dominate world cricket. So it would be quite sad. But then it's up to them. And it's up to us as well to boost the game. Yes, you look at the big three, Australia, England, India, and they just have the most money, to be quite frank. However, if you want those nations playing against you as well, then you need to be playing good cricket. You need to be challenging that ICC Mace or that World Test Championship. And that's one of the ways in which you have control, to set an equilibrium amongst the teams. That's one thing that the unions can control, is to play good cricket.
Firdous, I see you've requested a follow-up. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Lucy. Yeah, good answer, KG. I just want to ask you, you said you can see it means a lot to people in West Indies, and you mentioned it's your favorite place to tour. What have you seen? What shows you that they really care? Is there a story that you can tell about, like, just the passion that you see on the ground there?
Well, I mean, you didn't have to think about it too hard. It was just the celebrations after they'd won, after Shamar Joseph bowled the way that he did. People were crying, people were very emotional.
Apologies, guys. I just had to cut across the screen to check the question. Apologies. Please go ahead, KG.
People were very emotional, and that emotion just tells a story. It's a picture, tells a story of 1,000 words. Is that the same? So all you have to do is look at those scenes and it'll tell you.
Thanks, Firdaus. We're going to look to take the last few questions. We're going to go Nathan, Amir, Telford.
KG, I've seen that you have many quotes there from the US. But onto the question, you got how's the mood in camp? I mean, you guys got guys coming from the US and SA from the training camp. What was the message from Coach Shook? And does it probably help having that warm-up game just for prep purposes?
So what'd you say? What I do in the US?
Now you're getting all these quotes. As you see now, you already got 2 or 3 quotes you're giving out already.
Oh, I got them from the US. Sorry, and the question? Shooks is?
Oh, this is a message from Coach Shook. And does it help having that warm-up game, especially from the guys who are playing in the US and the guys joining from the training camp in South Africa?
Oh yes. I think it's definitely going to help. The guys are coming from a camp in Durban, and as a player, if you haven't played a lot of cricket, you need some sort of simulation, a game simulation. And I think this is our best shot at getting that. It'll be totally different conditions playing at the Brian Lara Oval, I think it's called. Last time we played there, it looked like a bit of a green seamer. And the conditions in Port of Spain are a bit drier. Yes, and it's an hour away, an hour and a half away, I think, or an hour away. So we're gonna have to get up early. Um, I think it's definitely going to help. I think I'm not sure what sort of bowling attack or batting attack the West Indies President 11 is going to have. I saw Kima Roach in the lift, so it would be nice if he plays and our batters can face him. He's world class, and it's just about getting time on the feet and getting as close as possible to a competitive mindset. And yeah, just having that perfect, or not perfect, but near perfect simulation for the game. Nothing can quite prepare you for the game. You just have to be in there to experience that. So hopefully, guys can get what they want out of it. We're gonna have to take it really seriously. But at the same time, want to create a relaxed environment, but not a soft environment. A relaxed but not a soft environment. I think that's the key. So the most important thing for us as players, for us as a team is to really understand what we want to get out of that. And each player has a responsibility of doing that, understanding that we only have, those 4 days, and then working accordingly. And then when game day comes, whether you had a good 4-day game, whether you had a good prep or not, that's when we have to find a way.
Thanks, Amir. Then Telford.
Thank you. Kagiso, I'm not sure if this has been spoken about at all, but the South African cricket team has a pretty formidable record against the West Indies in the 32 matches they've played against each other. South Africa's 122, West Indies only 3 with 7 draws. Being in possession as a team, being in possession of a record like that, would you say that it gives you a bit more of a confidence boost and takes a little bit of pressure off going into a series like this?
I guess so, yes. When you've played well against a certain team, um, you generally have an idea of how to beat them. And that would most definitely be the case. But you can't take it for granted. Anything can happen in cricket. You take it for granted, you'll be showing up. So it's about rocking up and trying to striving to just play better. Keep trying to play your best game. That's all that we're gonna have to do is keep trying to play our best game, yeah, regardless of what has happened in the past. When you step over that line, all of that doesn't matter. It's about what happens in between the rope. That's all that matters. But psychologically, leading into a game, perhaps does it take more pressure off? Yes. But when you get into the middle, you have to zone all of that out.
Thanks, Amir. Telford.
Awesome.
Kagiso, there was quite a bit of focus during the T20 World Cup on the fact that South Africa's squad contained only one black player, who of course is you. And I just wonder whether that got through to you. Were you aware? I mean, obviously you're aware that you're black. I'm not, were you aware that there was this focus, and did it put any more pressure on you, or how did that make you feel?
Didn't put any more pressure on me at all. I'm a black player, yes. And yeah, if I don't feel like I should have been there on merit, then if people don't feel that way, then that's fine. Then I'm not invincible. I can be dropped as well. But I believe in myself. And I think it would be rather so much of a, such a heavy thought during a World Cup and thinking about yourself being the only black player in a team. I mean, that seems like torture for me. And I think that just takes away from focus. It certainly does. But hey, these are certain challenges that, you ask a valid question because you wonder of how players must have felt in the past, how players in the future might feel. And these are things that you need to address. I can be brash about it and say, no, I didn't think about it too much. But genuinely, I didn't, and I didn't have any pressure on myself. For me, it was just about winning that cup. But for other players, you never know how it feels. And also, mind me, but the media as well, what the media has to say about this situation can really, really mess up the players, psychological psychology or psyche. And those are certain things that we have to make peace with in South Africa because there's a very unique landscape. This whole transformation thing, it almost seems to always bubble up when we're at World Cups for some reason. I personally don't believe that, because you ask yourself, what are some of these factors that might make a player feel that way, that they're the only black player? And it's factors such as, we lost because of transformation, or because we had to include players of color or black Africans. And that always happens in World Cups. But when we're winning series and we're winning or losing other games, then it's not so much of an issue, So that's where it might be a bit inconsistent. And you tend to look back, and if you ask yourself truthfully, looking back in the past, have we not won a World Cup because of transformation? I mean, like, really. So sometimes things can get blown out of proportion, and it's a unique system, and a lot of people have different opinions on it because of where our country comes from, and it's not something that it's not a system that is particularly easy to just understand and move on from. It's something that has to be looked at in context. But yeah, getting back to your original question, I didn't let that get to my head.
Thanks, Telford. In the interest of time, we're going to take one from KC, and then we do just have one from Ongame in the chat box. So please go ahead, KC.
Yes, hi KG, and all the best for the tour. Sorry, can you hear me first of all?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, all right, lovely. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, with all the T20 tournaments taking place all around the world, players from different countries obviously know each other much more than they would have had you not been having these leaks. Has that forced teams, countries, when they're preparing for test series to adjust their preparations, or has that really not been much of a factor in the sense that you're playing against guys who might know you much more because perhaps they've encountered you in a T20 competition and things?
T20 and test are totally different, way different. Yeah, there's no comparison. But in saying that, we play against each other so many times. I mean, it's like me playing against whoever. Could be if I bowl against David Warner, I'll know exactly how he plays. He'll know exactly how I bowl. And playing against each other for all these years, you know, the memory's fresh. And as cricketers, although, like I said earlier, that I wasn't watching much of that England versus West Indies series, you always just keep an eye out, just a small eye out. And you see if you notice the same patterns. Yeah, it's about seeing patterns. And whether you play together or not, cricket is out there, there's TVs. You know, I do watch cricket here and there. And as for those says, maybe I should read more cricket info. But generally, you start to gain more pattern. You look for patterns.
Great, thanks, Casey. And then just the last one from Ogama. KG, just a comment on Tatiana's Olympic gold medal that she got yesterday at the Paris Olympics.
Yeah, fantastic. Wow. She's been making us proud. Yeah, she's phenomenal. 2 golds in a row. Yeah, that's really inspiring. When I look at that as an athlete, it makes me want to achieve the same feat. These people are making the country proud, and South Africa, very unique country, as I said earlier on, and all of this stuff really does bring hope. It brings hope, and yeah, representing the South African badge, I do feel very proud, and she is representing the country. And again, it's a white swimmer, and I'm a black man. Am I a black man yet? but yeah, as an athlete and as someone who wants to aspire to be better and better, I think she's done a remarkable job, and people are watching, and they would want to emulate that, whatever field that they're in. They just want to do the same things that these people are doing, representing us all over the world.
Great. On that note, that concludes today's media op. Thank